been so lucky to meet some of my all-time favourite comedy heroes, and Frankie Howerd was one of those. So today I thought I'd share my memories of Frankie with you. Well, that's right, I actually met Frankie Howerd just at the latter part of his career. He'd had this resurgence, with students, and I think he'd appeared at one of the big colleges or universities, so he was kind of riding high. And he also had, at the time that I met him, these t-shirts which they were selling in the foyer with Frankie says, Titter ye not, just very, very clever. He'd really come back. But Frankie Howerd was one of these people. I'd met him many, many years ago when I was small, but he was very shrewd, a little bit dark, a little bit stingy, should we say, and didn't really like to pay for much. And the reason why we became sort of friends was simply this. He was invited onto a radio show that I was appearing on every day, a breakfast show, and my character was called Everard the Cleaner. Work that out. And what was interesting was that the character was basically a celebrity cleaner, and whoever was in the news that day, we had to quickly write a sketch of the person who was in the news. So it could be like George Michael crashing his car, or whoever, Princess Di, whatever was happening. I would ring into the show and explain to the presenter this is what I was doing, and then we would incorporate gossip and lots of innuendo. Frankie loved this, and when he came on the show, he couldn't quite believe, dare I say, that he was meeting the guy, because obviously I didn't look like the person he imagined. We quickly became fast friends, went for a cup of tea, and he asked me whether I could write some of that type of stuff that he could use in his act that night. As I say, he was appearing at the Garrick Theatre, I think for a short stint. Very funny man. And for me, I don't know if people agree with me on this, but what I liked about Frankie was he was better off script. He had a script. People, do have scripts in comedy, and he knew exactly where he was going. He had cue cards and things on the floor, little bits and pieces like that. But he was far more brilliant, I thought, when something went wrong in the audience, and he would sort of go on that. That was far more fun for me than actually the things that he was saying which were scripted. I think he also had in this particular show, maybe people remember, but there was a woman playing the piano, Madam somebody, who never spoke. Slightly reminded me of Madge with Dame Edna and stuff like that. Very clever man, very funny. And as I say, one of those people that in today's generation, they talk about sort of alternative comedy, and I always think, alternative to what? Laughter? When you were with Frankie Howerd, he was very dry, but he picked up on things which were slightly cruel. And one of the persons, dare I say, I'll let you into a secret now, that he didn't really like was Larry Grayson. First of all, I think Larry had stolen his job, in Frankie's mind, of the Generation Game. He was furious because he'd done, I think, 1 or 2 pilots, and he was very keen to get this job. He thought it would put him back on prime time and everything. But I couldn't really see Frankie Howerd taking the helms of the Generation Game. I mean, Larry was clinging on if it wasn't for Isla. Larry was beautiful, brilliant and everything. But I could see why these two would have rubbed up against each other. And he was a little bit dismissive of Larry, and I think there was a slight jealousy there. But of course, Frankie was on his way back. He'd reinvented himself. He was being sort of offered things on Channel 4. And as he said, it comes round in circles. He'd been out of it, got on that very famous broadcast with the Establishment Club, bounced back. And this was how he was seeing his stint back at the Garrick all those years later. Brilliant to meet him, super fun. And thank you so much for letting me share my memories of Frankie Howerd with you.